Just can't keep my hands to myself, and I know that I've got to get a hold of myself.
Hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Mission Control. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
A lot has transpired. We thought we'd do something a little bit different. We've been meaning to do this for a while, but we actually have Skype set up.
Yeah, well, we had to get used to it because in the coming weeks, I feel like we're not going to be able to leave our houses.
That's very true, yeah. So we have an old friend that we're going to be calling. His name's Connor. But we go way back. He's been on a couple of times. Mm-hmm. He's been on with James as well. But these are very interesting times, so it kind of really does suit what's required now. The fact that we can't have people coming in and out of the studio. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can. There's just certain guidelines we've got to follow.
I'd rather not, almost. Yeah. Better not.
Well, I'm starting to get a bit paranoid, that's the thing.
Really? Yeah, you haven't been sleeping.
Yeah, well.
You need to sleep.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. It's I think everyone in the back of their minds is worried, but I think
it's being a very, very stressful bit of time at the moment for everyone, I guess.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. There's I think I am just feeling very blessed that I am able to go about my usual routine, which is keep to myself anyway. But a lot of people have been affected by it, quite negatively. So thoughts go out to them. Did we want to give Connor a call?
Let's see if we can get him up here, eh?
It's
Oh, sorry, that was my bad. I did something right. I did something wrong fucking there.
That was the most horrible noise I've ever heard. So how you been? How you been handling this whole staying at home thing? You been alright?
Yeah. I mean, I've been practicing for 2 years, right? Like, been working from home for 2 years, so.
Are you under forced quarantine, or are you choosing to self-isolate?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, however, whatever you want to call it, like it should be forced quarantine. Just staying home because it's not good to get the flu.
Oh, definitely,
really,
man.
really bad.
I think we've all had flus where we thought we were gonna fucking die. And I'm not trying to say that like I know what's happening now, like what it's like to have that, but I've definitely had flus where I've landed in hospital and I've had like cortisone shots and like antibiotics and like fluid in the lungs and stuff like that, and they've all been a result of a progression of a regular cold, because I have asthma as well, so I'm probably more susceptible to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
But see, the thing is, like, I think the thing with this current virus is not the fact that it's killing quicker or killing more. It's the fact that it's more infectious. Like, more people are getting infected, which is causing more people to die than would normally die from a flu.
It's the virility of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and it's the strain on the system, right? Like it's the numbers. It's the sheer numbers.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's the quantity of infection rate mixed with like the strain on the hospital system. So the normal flu can manage each year, and that's, I guess, what the system's been in place for. But as soon as it reaches these kinds of levels, like pandemic levels, like literal pandemic levels, it's not about that anymore. It's about just trying to, squash down the amount of cases in order to cope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so that's where I started getting a bit worried, because I'm thinking, I'm going to start seeing people walking down the streets coughing up blood like dead bodies in the streets, like maybe in China. And then I thought, well, actually, no, because it's a normal cold. They're actually saying that a majority of people will actually get infected, but the chances of you actually getting even mild or severe cases is so low. You might just feel like shit for a bit and spend a couple of days at home.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that's if I get it, that's what I get. Because when I got the flu a couple of years ago, it was rotten. Like going to the hospital and stuff sucks for the flu, but there's nothing else you can do. Like you feel so horrific, and then I can't even imagine adding in like a complication like pneumonia or a complication like unable to breathe, onto like the symptoms that I had when I was admitted for the flu. So
I mean, just the fever alone is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And then also them like triaging and just being like, well, we can't actually like put you in a bed right now because we need it. So go home and good luck.
Yeah.
Like that's what's happening globally, and that's what's like killing people.
Well, that's where I started getting worried because being a smoker, my chances are pretty shit if I was to get it. But if I was to get, like how much of it do I need to actually get into my body to actually cause a big problem? Like, does it grow? Does it multiply inside your body, or?
These are all unknowns. That's the most terrifying part of this is that like and like blood type might be a factor, they've said, and like it's every few days someone puts out some new information about it. So we don't know.
I've
This
heard
is the
that. I've
problem.
heard
This is the
certain
problem.
blood types are getting affected more than others, so
Yeah.
that might be
Yeah.
the case. Yeah.
Well, there was. I read an article this morning that some 25-year-old kid in America that was self-isolating because he was confirmed to have it, just randomly died. He had no underlying conditions. He wasn't a smoker. He just fucking died.
Yeah.
And I think it was in WA, a 5-month-old baby was confirmed to have COVID-19. I'm like, how the fuck do they even test a 5-month-old baby? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty scary, man. It's
It
pretty
is definitely.
scary.
I've got some. I've got some questions about the tests though, because there's so many different
Yeah.
types of COVID. Like the coronavirus is not new. It's been around for a while. There's different strains. I mean, we probably have had versions of a coronavirus in our past. I would say it's probably highly likely a lot of influenza can be a coronavirus.
Is influenza a corona? Because like SARS, MERS, they're coronaviruses because of the way that it's a crown type virus things. Things like they talk about the AIDS virus and stuff. That's not a coronavirus, is it? Is it?
I'm
don't
way
know.
out,
Yeah, 'cause I
way
think-
out of my league.
Yeah.
But I think there's so many types of viruses that we get. But I think a coronavirus is a certain type that causes these kind of respiratory
Yeah.
illnesses and shit.
Yeah, yeah, and the the group of symptoms is known as COVID-19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm
think
still
so.
trying to just get my head around. Because the last thing
Yeah.
we want to do is like perpetrate the misinformation, right?
Exactly.
In
yeah.
a time like this, right? But it's very hard. It's kind of a slippery one, man. It's kind of hard to
It
pinpoint
is,
like
but
what
I mean,
exactly it is.
it's not. You're not putting out any false information by saying this is serious as fuck and everyone should stay the fuck inside. Like that's not misinformation. Like that's as real as it gets. Like this is not like this isn't a drill, and you don't want this. It doesn't matter if you're young. Like when you see, social media posts of people licking toilet seats and just dumbass
Dude, and the one
people on
dude got,
beaches, like
he got it. He got
you guys-
COVID.
Can you guys
Fucking-
not do that? Like,
Fucking idiot.
can you
What an
not?
idiot.
Can you not go to like spring break for a bit? Is that cool? Like, I mean, I
Yeah,
know you're
I
young, but like, it's not good to get the flu. And like, the problem is that we've kind of like devalued the word flu in our society just by like having to make excuses for employers and stuff. So whenever we call in sick and we want more than 2 days off, suddenly we've all got the flu, but no one's been tested, right? But like, that's not the flu. Like the flu is, I need to go to the hospital. I think I'm dying. And like, you need a doctor to tell you've got the flu in order to like walk you down from the edge. At least that's how it was from when I had it. I was like, this isn't fucking normal at all. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
because cold
in
and flu
serious
are
pain.
completely different things. right?
completely, yeah.
Yeah.
They feel completely different. And the majority of the time people have a cold, a bad cold, right? That can absolutely knock you off work for 3-4 days. It can hang around for 10 days. You can feel shit for a long time in winter if you have a cold. But the flu is like a headache for 5 days, that level kind of shit. Like, it's abnormal. And
But like,
I think that a lot of people say they've had the flu, but I don't know. Like, obviously they've had a version of the flu, but the flu's bad when like it hits you bad, right? And this is a bad one that we don't know shit about. So,
But
stay home.
at what point does it become a severe respiratory thing? Like, I was sort of reading, that it has to get into your mucus tracts and stuff. But is it something that actually travels through your body to get to certain places, or do you need to actually sort of inhale a certain amount of
But
the virus particles? It's just it's
I
fucking.
think they
That's
don't.
the
They
luck of the
literally don't
draw.
know. Yeah.
They don't
It's
know.
fucking crazy,
Yeah, that's the
yeah.
luck of the draw. It lives on the back of your throat for 14 days in incredibly high quantities, and that's why it's so infectious. Because if you speak to someone, that you're spraying them basically with high concentrate of it. If you've got it while it's incubating, so there's like this really long period while it's just kind of dormant, I guess, in your system before, and then the symptoms progress really, really quickly. Yeah, it's really terrifying, man. It's a terrifying thing.
Johnny hasn't been able to sleep because of this. This
Dude,
is like a hypochondriac's worst nightmare.
I've been-
Dude, I'm a hypochondriac for sure, and it's
I've been
terrifying. You
losing
should take it
sleep
fucking
and
seriously.
chain smoking. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
well,
diaries
I mean-
are not helping.
Diaries aren't helping. I mean, I think that through all of this, I think a lot of people are going to get like that little bit of like, it's time to like make some fucking changes.
Yeah.
Like I know I have.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
gotten a huge wake up call about like some shit I do in my life where I'm just like, is that really important to me? Do I really want to do that?
Yeah.
I
think we're going to value human contact even more
No shit.
after this.
No shit, yeah.
Like
Well,
among other things.
the slingshot effect from this is that we're going to come back like probably just fucking each other. No. Okay,
well,
no.
I mean, that's if we're allowed human contact after this is all done.
Well, do you buy into
No,
this
I
theory,
mean-
kind of that a lot of people are worried about the how heavy-handed the government can be and potential rights that have been taken away, and the fact that they might not be redacted after this happens. Do you think that's just like fear-mongering, or like is
Well,
it just the tinfoil crew, like our crew, like just going mad, or what?
It isn't, but it's really like James and I were talking about this recently because it's a difficult thing. Like I'm not a fan of systems and institutions and things like that because I'm not a fan of people. But it's funny, the people that have opinions like me are the ones begging for the government to say, stay the fuck home. So like in these times of pandemics, I'm reminded of the fact that it's actually people who are just really fucking dumb and like they need to be told to stay home. Like I'll take the dog for a walk or whatever with a mask on and I'll get looks like I'm a crazy person. I'm like, no, I've just had the flu and I don't fucking want the flu. Like it sucks to get the flu. And this is a highly infectious flu that I'd catch at a time when the hospital system is, completely overstretched. So why wouldn't you do all you can to mitigate catching it?
Yeah.
So it really drives me insane. But on the other hand, and more to the heart of your question, like there's that Australia passed legislation regarding the backdoor to encryption. You might have heard that a year or two ago, where anyone working on encryption technologies in Australia, if you're an Australian company, you need to basically be able to circumnavigate or circumvent that encryption for government purposes, which doesn't make any sense because, all of these companies will and they have just parked their companies offshore because then they're outside of the jurisdiction.
Sneaky
But-
motherfuckers.
This kind of law is currently being debated in the House in the States. And it's like they literally brought it up last Friday when like things were heating up. And this is the time when they do these things. So while everyone's looking at the magician pulling a bunny out of one hat, the other guy's, the other hand's jacking off somebody who's got a sack of money. But that's so we got to be careful of shit like that. Like there's I'm not aware of the bill. I mean, we're not American. We've got no one to call about this. But I mean,
Hey,
I wouldn't buy Apple gear if this law passed and Apple remained in America. Like I'd just start buying Samsung stuff, like everyone will. You know what I mean? Like it's such a dumb. It's exactly what every Australian security company is just like, what the fuck have you done? You've neutered the industry, which is like a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Once you open that door up, there's no turning back from that. Like this,
But it's also nonsense. Like everyone can use email service from Germany. So why the fuck would you continue to use Gmail, which is US based? Like so like there's always going to be some issue like that.
Totally.
And that's the lack of foresight when you've got people in their 70s and 80s voting on technology bills.
Yeah, I am a big fan of when shit's happening, I look for stuff that's being pushed like behind the scenes, and that's what we've kind of always done. But I mean, lately I've switched off to it. But I think now more than ever is like the perfect time for some dirty shit to be slipped under the table, I think. While everyone is so focused on this, like you'll see a lot of like, I mean, shit in the US is popping off. Like there's all these alleged indictments. How many fucking like 100 CEOs stepped down from their positions? Well, did they know about this shit?
Apart from that, I mean, there's some of the stuff that you think about the mail-in voting now they want to pull, where you don't actually need to be a registered voter to vote. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you kidding me?
I mean, I don't want to get into US
insane.
politics.
Like
insane.
Internet voting is outrageously stupid. Like paper voting is the smartest thing that Australia does, like as far as elections go.
Yeah.
It's very hard to tamper with a pen and paper. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people sort of around. You'd have to really infect each. It would be very difficult to, skew our election at the first degree level, at the like actual vote level. Obviously, it's not that hard to skew the election with a smear campaign and with a lot of money. But that's a whole other thing. That's just making people stupid and making them vote against their interests, which is like the bread and butter of quote unquote democracy, modern democracy, whatever you want to call it. But as far as actual tampering of elections, like pen and paper is the way to go. It's and then if you want to put it online, like they want to put it online, that is insane. Like
the fact that they
Facebook,
the fact that they want to do it unregistered, which means an American could go to one voting place a vote, drive down the street to the next one, and place another vote.
Yeah.
It's like I don't understand that thing. It's fucking.
It's
total.
I know nothing about economics, but I've heard that a lot of people were saying that the economy was like predicted to crash around this time. It was, but I don't think they realized to what extent. But I think the CEO step down, if anyone hasn't heard about that, is one of the most interesting things.
And there's a lot of them.
Business-wise, I don't know why there's not any like a lot more noise about this shit, man, because a lot of people have stepped down.
But that's normal. So, I mean, companies, it's within their charters, their company sort of, documents that say this is what the goal of the company, which is make money, right? If they don't meet a quarterly goal, somebody's head has to roll. Like the board, they answer to the shareholders, right? So the CEO's the natural person that has to fall on the grenade, I guess. So like they get a golden handshake out of it. They don't leave with nothing. They leave with a huge amount of money. And then their mate steps up. Like it's a. But it's a normal business thing. If your company's tanking, like the CEO has to go.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of CEOs that had connections to certain, let's say, how do I put it, bad stuff, like bad press. I mean, you look at the Victoria's Secret CEO who was having links to Epstein and all that sort of shit like that. And then, conveniently, Bill Gates steps down because of the middle of his virus thing. He wants to focus on his philanthropy and all sort of bits and pieces.
Yeah, Event 201.
Yeah, but there's so many stepping down that makes you wonder, like, was there some foresight as to the markets crashing? They wanted to cash out early before their stocks were worth jack shit.
Yeah, that's possible as well. Like, so there's a known sort of practice in the States with CEOs who pull big paychecks, and that's the CEO will take home pay will be $1 million or just under $1 million because there's a cap, and over $1 million there's a significant amount of tax that has to be paid by both the company and the CEO, the officer taking home that money. So the rest of their money that they make, so when you hear about the chairman for Goldman Sachs or something like that taking home 26 mil, what they're actually taking home is 1 mil. salary, but then 25 mil in like options or like some form of stock. So, yeah, it's a good point, Johnny. Like it could very well be that they're just like, I'm going to tap out now. I've made my little, and I'm just going to enter the period before the SEC can slap me on the hand and then just fire sell all the stock that I've got.
And then they wait for the stocks and the businesses to crash, and then the Chinese governments and businessmen come and buy it all up.
Whoa!
Because that's the.
I think it's more that they want to buy it up. So they can't operate on their own insider knowledge or whatever. But what they can do is get out now, step down, and then buy their own company stock at a huge sale price of 15% off.
Yeah,
and that's what we're seeing a lot of. Like the markets right now, it's not that foreign entities are necessarily buying everything. It's that the same people who controlled the same people that controlled 40% of these massive companies now control 50%. That's all that we're seeing. And the bottom 10%, is being reallocated because the investors who perhaps weren't in a position to just weather the storm had to sell. Their risk tolerance was hit a certain threshold. They couldn't hold on to their stock any longer. And, that's when the rich swoop in and buy up. So that's just what we're seeing. This is a normal, it's not normal, but this is
common.
This is what the market does. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just that this is a significant one, and it's one that's like they take any opportunity. Don't equate the stock market to anything like real. It's like sure there's something real happening in the world, but like if there's a big dip of 10%, you bet your fucking ass that there's a shit ton of people on the sideline going, great, everything's on sale. Like you don't buy when it's green, you buy when it's red. Like these guys know this. So
I think what it is because there's been so much happening this year, since the start of the year, since the Australian bushfires to this pandemic to the economy, like it's just been bombarding with so much happening. I think everyone's just becoming so overwhelmed they don't know where to look. Definitely this virus outbreak is the one thing we should be focused on. But at the same time, I don't think it means we should shy away and stop focusing on other things that are happening around the world.
Yeah,
agreed.
It's very easy to put the blinders on and not look at your peripheral. Yeah. So much interesting
ditch my
shit,
dog.
man.
I'll be back in 1 sec.
Oh, totally, man. Oh, doggy. Yeah, we thought you were gonna do some streaming on Twitch, some Call of Duty or something.
Yeah.
you said
what else am I gonna do?
you said you built like a gaming setup.
Yeah. I bought a game. Well, I bought like parts for a gaming PC like in January and just started like playing video games.
Were you a big gamer?
It's good
ever?
fun. Nah, not at all.
No?
I just got into it like this year.
Oh,
So
fuck
like
yeah.
it's been good. It's been good fun. Like
What games are you
good
rocking?
Good timing.
What games are you playing?
I've been playing a shit ton of Rainbow Six Siege, which is like
that shit's like
just like
crack.
a first
That's so
person
good.
shooter. Yeah, exactly. It's just like it's just mind crack basically.
Who's your
But it's good fun.
your person of choice? Who do you go?
I like how complicated the game is, so I don't necessarily have a main person. I just like to fill the gap.
Oh, you don't
in
have
the
a main?
team. No main. Nah. I'll go whoever like is needed based on what the other 4 people have picked.
Look at you, so
Yeah.
smart.
Nah, just like it's like fucking food, man. Like my brain just wants to drink it up, like this strategy and like
The
'cause
strategy,
It's just so,
fuck.
it's
yeah.
crack. It's
Yeah,
total
it's
crack,
fucking
man.
crack, man. It's a strategy.
It's
like,
mind crack. Yeah.
Totally, yeah. Like you got to disarm the bomb or save a hostage. There's like, what is it, 4-on-4 or 3-on-3?
5-on-5, yeah.
Oh, 5-on-5.
It's just-
Yeah.
It's just it's like it's like playing chess after getting shot up with heroin and coke. I think
Totally.
that's pretty much how I would
Yeah,
explain it.
Kind of like
but
that
bought
Counter-Strike
the gaming
vibe.
PC for
terrorist versus- yeah.
I bought the gaming PC for Cyberpunk because that game looks fucking sick.
Oh yeah.
The amount of people buying PCs for Cyberpunk 2077 is crazy.
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Well, like it's like it kind of like my last console I guess, was PlayStation 1, right? Like I've been out a long
Wow,
time, but
okay.
like things are kind of like have changed with the latest generation of shit that we've got, like computing gear and stuff like that, where it's kind of at a point now where it's getting a bit wild again. It's kind of like entering this brand new sort of phase.
Yeah.
Whereas I think for the last 15 years or so, it's kind of like it's been refining the same thing. Whereas now, like we're seeing like the new Half-Life game and stuff where like VR is getting fucking crazy. And
now
like,
the VR stuff.
all these things
good,
are, yeah, all these things are like playable on the PC that I sort of put together. So like, it's kind of like this next sort of 5 to 10 years is going to be like the new golden age for
I think
gaming
it's
and shit,
definitely a good time to tune in.
Well, I think that's the thing.
It's
Everyone's going to be so
totally.
used to staying at home that staying at home playing VR games is going to be the norm.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Oasis.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's it's been good. It's been good fun. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's all really crazy. Like I'm not really working at the moment. Like it's kind of like the world's weird, man. I don't know where you guys are at, but
We're
It's,
getting an upgrade.
it's definitely
Things are
definitely
changing.
affected my yeah.
I got to work on Monday. Like I'm still working.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, dude.
But I mean, there's only
crazy.
two of us at work. We're in a workshop. No one else around. Don't
fair
interact
enough.
with other people. I feel
Yeah, fair
I feel more. It's more getting from my apartment to my car
Yep.
downstairs that I'm more worried about because that's where
Yeah.
few people interact. But then once I'm
Yeah.
in my car and at work, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, if you can get a mask, you should get one. This is like not the time to like not wear one. But if you can't, then see, there you go. You can wear that. Sorted. Corona proof. Love it.
That is ridiculous.
No, I don't like. I'm trying to rep it, man. I'm trying to like normalize it because I don't care how many crazy looks I get. Like, at least I'll be planting the seed that like, no, like you're not above getting a virus. You're not above getting infected.
Well, actually, I went down.
I see like these
went-
50-year-olds and stuff walking around. It's just like, dude.
I went to
You're
the
at
liquor store
risk.
today wearing a bandana over my face. And I walked in and to the little, not shopping center, but just the arcade bit. And there's, security guards walking around they've got their proper dust masks on, and a few people at the shop's wearing dust masks. And I walk into the bottle shop wearing this full bandana over my face. And they were just like,
Stick 'em up.
whatever. No, they just didn't care. They were just okay, completely understandable.
It's better than nothing, man, because at least it it'll stop you from touching your face. Like it kind of gives you that reminder, right? It gives you the
That's
reminder. of the
my
barrier.
big thing at the moment as well. Got to
Yeah.
stop touching my face. But
Same.
Yeah. It's like a nervous
But,
habit, right? You just touch your face, right?
well, I might need to actually.
Yeah.
I think what it is, I need to shave because I think having the hair and around my nose is like caused me to do it. So, is that what you done? Is that
Literally
why you shaved it?
that's
Yeah,
why
exactly.
I've got, that's why I'm chinless Connor for the first time in years.
Did you have a
Because
beard not long ago? You can grow a pretty mean beard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah?
well, I always have a beard. It's just not at the moment. Like I've sacrificing my facial hair for the.
That's
for the
actually a
brown.
good idea. I might do that.
It's time to do it, man. Like
Yeah.
you gotta do it. But I got really long hair as well at the moment. That like I was due for a haircut, and now it's just like, well, don't know when the hairdresser is going to be open, so I might just shave it or something.
You're allowed to get a haircut.
No
as
more
long
than
as-
half an hour.
No more than half an
I
hour.
just don't want one. I just don't want one.
Not
Like, I
go
don't wanna-
near it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
like
touch me.
why? Like, there's no point putting yourself in like at risk. Like,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
it's one of those things. Like, just because something's open doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good idea to go. Like, we should all be trying to limit how often we go out, regardless of what it's for. So, like,
Yeah.
even like if you used to go get groceries, twice or 3 times a week, which if you live sort of in a city, you tend to do that, right? But like, I'll do it once a week, once every 2 weeks now, and just try to do like as much as possible. Come home, wash the clothes that I wore. Actually treat it like an actual, lockdown, because it's a serious thing, man. Like I know that, a lot of people are following sort of what the government is saying, but the government's been consistently 7 to 10 days behind the 8 ball in what they've been instructing. So, we're at this stage at the moment where, non-essential, like everything's sort of not locked down, but you look at the States and there's like California, for example, is locked down, right?
Yeah, South Africa's just locked themselves down 21 days. They can't leave the houses.
Yeah. These are all windows into our future. These are all windows into like how far the disease has progressed, the virus has progressed, sorry.
Yeah.
So like we need to be looking to that as like no, we should be doing that now so that it doesn't hit us.
I think that's actually like Australia and Perth is in that best position where we are kind of isolated ourselves. But we get first-hand information off the bat straight up. We can see what's happening, and we kind of have that bit of that time frame to give ourselves something to prepare for.
Totally agree,
and that's why Daryl's kicking
our geographical, I should say, sorry. Location is geological. my brain just sort of went, what the fuck are you talking about? Our geographical location.
Don't touch your face, Connor. Don't rub your eyes.
No, it's okay. I'm past the barrier. I'm allowed to fucking do whatever I want. Stick my finger in my bum. I can do anything. I'm in the bubble. I'm the boy in the bubble right now. Once you're in the quarantine zone, you're okay to do whatever you need to do. It's just that when you're out and about, that's when you got to
be vigilant.
Employ some rules. Yeah, exactly. It's not too hard to do that stuff. And then the goal is to get to the end of this and go, it wasn't so bad. Like that's the dream outcome, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are sort of seeing that as like why'd we prepare? Why'd we do this? Why'd we do that? And it's like, well, that's the best outcome. To bury your mum is the worst outcome, or to be in a hospital bed is the worst outcome. Like that means you failed at doing what you're supposed to be doing right now, which is nothing. Like don't go out if you don't need to. Like it's...
Yeah. Have you heard about all these cruise ships that are just like what's the deal with that? A cruise ship actually left the port in March 8th.
Left New Zealand and came to Sydney. I want to know why they even left
People
New Zealand.
are still going on their holiday. I mean, if they're trying to get back, I get it, but no, they're on a holiday cruise.
But why are countries trying to fly their people back to their own countries? Why don't you just fucking leave them there? Why keep moving people around the planet if we're in this fucking global lockdown? I can't understand that.
Yeah, I guess there's got to be reasons behind that, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of shuffling and moving around, and these 3 cruise ships that were full of infected people.
Well, I think that's why, especially now that Australia's putting military and stuff around, they're starting to take it seriously. Any plane that arrives from overseas, they're putting them into
hotels
and government approved facilities. It's not taking shit anymore.
Good. That's what we need to be doing. I mean, every country needs to be doing this type of shit. I mean, this is not going to go away quickly. There was sort of I brought, the whole sort of let's just lock down for 2 weeks kind of argument, I guess. The people that were kind of shooting that down saying, well, that's not a long-term solution. We don't have any long-term solutions yet or anything like that. The whole purpose of, shutting down for sort of 2 weeks at a time, there was a paper that came out last week or the week before from MIT Tech Tech Journal, and it was basically explaining how we've all kind of seen that graph with the big spike if we do nothing, and then the sort of flattening of the curve.
The old flatten the curve.
So they sort of actually had the data as to how the curve is actually flattened. It's actually reducing the curve to a series of spikes. So it's kind of like each time we reach a certain threshold of infected people, we go into a quarantine for 2 weeks and we shut down cities for 2 weeks. And we'll need to do this according to these medical researchers for 18 to 24 months. And we'll need to do this once every 1 to 2 months for 18 to 24 months. And that's the only way that we'll actually flatten the curve properly in order to not surpass what hospitals can take on. And even that's cutting it. This is as serious as it gets.
Wait,
this is kind of like a practice for
So you were saying what for eight to something months?
18 months will need to go into 2-week quarantines.
Wait,
every 2 months.
So, yeah, throughout 18 months.
For the
once
duration.
Once every 2
once
months.
every 2
there'll be
months,
2
you go
weeks
into lockdown. Yeah.
where the city will need to everyone needs to do the social distancing thing of like we go out once a week to go grocery shopping.
Well, I mean, I always
that's
said,
the only way.
we should just they should, rather than this staged thing that we've got going on in Australia, where stage 1, stage 2. If they just say, look, everyone, right now, starting now, 2 weeks, no one come outside, then it'll give us everyone so much. It'll give us a chance to identify, locate, and deal with those situations, and it won't spread. But by allowing this kind of stage
according to
thing
medical
going,
researchers.
But then I also want to be a bit of a real bitch that people are going to hate me for saying this. But I always think sometimes as well that, we know that the body has a natural immune system, and we know that the body deals with certain viruses and certain things. Definitely this is something new we haven't dealt with before. But at the same time, isn't it kind of a thing where you'd think that you kind of need to let it roll a little bit in order to, like,
that is how the spike happens. That's how the flattening the curve can't. That's where we get the. So, I saw a joke today where like time spent looking at exponential graphs this year, and it's like an exponential graph, right? But we've got to remember that it is an exponential problem. So as soon as we hit certain marks, the problem doubles twice as fast, right? So once you hit a certain amount of cases, it's going to get twice as worse in half the amount of time. So what you're saying is like, it will need to run its course, but we need to stretch it out in order to save as many people as possible based on the current hospital systems that we have in place globally. So that's like, the economy is secondary. People's jobs are secondary, right? Like, I don't really understand how people can squabble about income and how they're going to pay rent if they're like dying or like, planning for a. I know it sounds like it sounds very dramatic for me to say that, but
I
like,
know what you're saying.
we've got to remember that, in order to be evicted, if you didn't pay rent, like, okay, you miss rent, like the first month or two, and then what? And then your landlord needs to go to a judge, and then that judge needs to be sitting, and then that judge needs to go, okay, now he's squatting, so now he's got 90 days to vacate. Look, this is months and months and months. So like, if everyone stopped paying rent, no one's homeless. No one's homeless for 6 months.
So is that your recommendation? So I can stop paying rent right now? And
no, my recommendation is to put health first.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. To stop leaning on this like, how am I going to make a living argument?
Absolutely,
because that doesn't exist if you're fucking dead. Like,
but I mean, I went on a bit of a rant today on my Instagram, and I feel a bit bad about it because I was in a bit depraved state of mind. But I was saying a bit how kind of like, if this virus was to run its course, and unfortunately, if a lot of people were to die and stuff like that, well, we'd kind of solve a problem of population, and we'd probably minimize a lot of the man-made climate change. Is it such a bad thing? Natural selection, survival of the fittest. That is the worst thing. The people will fucking slaughter me for saying something like that.
But mind you, like place publications like NASA was putting out all this stuff about how cleaner things are. Yeah. Like since China has stopped all the production.
Same with Italy. They were showing the CO2 emissions over Italy.
CO2 has dropped down. So I mean, like, I know it's like kind of being really devil's avocado, but like it's
and as far as survival of the fittest goes, like the people who are out now, like at the dog park when I see like standing around in a big group, or like the people at the shops, like survival of the fittest, those motherfuckers are going to die and we don't need them. They're too stupid to stay the fuck inside for 2 weeks. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I know. I do get your sentiment. The problem with that is though that
no one wants to die.
The amount of suffering that it's not just dying, right? Like if you could literally just press erase for a significant portion of the people on Earth, then yeah, give me the button now. Like, let's get it done. Like, I'll flip that coin.
I'm not going to make the cut. I'm not going to make the cut.
Well, it's not, let's just leave it a chance. But like,
Yeah. But you don't want to be lying on the
unfortunately, it's a
floor
struggle,
in a
like,
hospital hallway.
Exactly.
Coughing up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
it's people dying in lines outside of hospitals. Unfortunately, there's like, you know, the post-traumatic stress disorder that would like arise in the entire healthcare like supply chain
Yeah.
and the entire industry. Like the amount of suffering that something like this is causing.
has already
It
caused.
is causing this. Yeah. It's like, yeah, the people in medical right now, they are living their worst hell.
Yeah.
They just are. They don't have the protective gear to deal with a devastating illness like this, and they are selecting who lives and who dies, or who gets put on a machine.
Absolutely.
Or who,
Yeah,
like, it is fucking horrific.
You see that
And
story from New York of like they're trying to juggle 5 respirators between like hundreds of people. You
Dude.
know,
Oh,
They
I'm starting to freak out again. Fucking hell.
Johnny, don't freak out.
No.
It's okay, man. Like, all we can do is like, you got to be stoic. That's how I've been getting through this, right? So it's all about
Totally.
the stoic mind frame. So what I mean when I say that is you've just got to think, what can you do? What's in your control? You know, getting the virus, or like all you can do is lower your risk, like in your daily life. That's it. You can't control whether you get it or not. You can't control what happens to you if you do get it. You know, there's no point entertaining that kind of train of thought. What you can do though is like limit your grocery shopping to one day, you know, stay inside at all times, wash your hands constantly, you know, wash your clothes when you go out, when you come home, like just stuff like that. Like that's all you can do, and that's all we can do.
Absolutely.
You know, we're not doctors. We're not actually on the front line. I don't have any medical training. Like,
There is one very valuable component to all of this, which I do feel is overlooked, and that's the mental and cognitive side of this, because a lot of people are panicking, which then leads to irrational behavior, which then leads to higher risk. So I also think, you know, manage your supplies, but manage your mind as well. And I think now is like the best time to actually take some, like, do some R&R, like rest and reflect and just do nothing and learn to embrace doing nothing, which I think people, like, they can't, like, even me, I can't do it for very long, but I'm trying to force myself to be okay. Just being by myself and being without doing anything. And then, like, there's this whole eye of the storm thing, which like the center of the storm is completely still. Like, if you picture that's you and all this shit's happening around you, you can remain still and calm and stoic, like you said, and logical. Like, easier said than done, but I think mindfulness is like so valuable now. And a lot of people are like, whatever side you're on, like everyone's kind of yelling. Everyone's kind of being super paranoid. Everyone's trying to like lead the way, and you know, everyone's trying to conform better than other people.
Too,
and, you know, I think everyone should just be helping each other out. Like,
I just want to be able to be able to go outside. I mean, I'm happy being by myself, but as long as I can jump in my car and just go for a drive, chill out, then I'm fine. But if it gets to that point where you are not allowed to leave your house, and if you do, you'll be arrested or some shit like that, then that's what fucking gets me worried.
yeah, okay, that's a fair
look,
Because I don't do well. I mean, I do well in isolation, but
I get that a lot. Like, as in, I really sympathize with that because I feel the same way. But what I've learned in the last few weeks, and this is, I find comfort in this, but a lot of people don't, and a lot of people look at me like I'm a, you know, psycho when I say this, but I just find comfort in it. Like, for the first time in my life, and I would have to guess your life, this is an unprecedented sort of thing, and you know, our grandparents,
historical.
I was saying to Daryl today that this is
weird, right?
It's kind of we could kind of take a bit of pride in knowing that we are experiencing this right now.
Yeah, it's a historical moment.
It's
weird.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's super weird. So I sort of take solace, I guess, in the fact that for the first time, I feel we sort of know just how stupid like we are as a collective, like the monkey, right? The monkey of a human. Like we will, climb over each other to get a roll of toilet paper for like no reason. Like we solved the issue of like buttholes 2,000 years ago with irrigation. Literally, like take a shower, done. We've got running water. If you've got running water, you've solved the toilet paper problem. And we've got people like beating each other up for toilet paper. Like, so what I'm saying is people is who we need to be afraid of. Like the stupidity of the collective of people. And so the government coming in and saying, stay the fuck inside. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because you can speak to another rational human and say, I'm out now because of this, blah, blah, blah. And they'll go, okay. If you were getting in trouble for breaching something like this. But to put out that everyone needs to stay inside and you will be arrested, I don't think that's a bad thing right now, because like people are fucking dumb. They're dumb. They're beating each other up for toilet paper over a problem that half the world's laughing at because they've got a hose. It makes no sense.
And I said
Have you been to Thailand? Have these people been to like a Dubai airport?
Anywhere in
there's a
Southeast
hole
Asia
and a fucking hose. Like, yeah, exactly. It's fucking insane.
Get a bidet.
It's literally like insane. Toilet paper, it's insane, right?
Yeah.
Like, so like that we're just a bunch of monkeys, and we'll climb over each other for the banana.
I said this at the very start that like I'm almost more afraid of other panicky people than the government at this stage.
That's
because like
what we need to be afraid of.
them, like someone buying way more than they need to, or these alleged videos of people having these like relay systems where they go in, buy shit, go out, stock the car, someone else comes in, buys shit, and they load up one car. It's fucking horrendous.
Insane.
It's horrendous, but it's like you're literally stealing from another person. Like you're taking someone else's share. And I think if everyone just took one, we'd be like pretty okay and just share amongst yourself. Wait, don't share. Sharing's probably bad.
Don't share the toilet.
Don't share toilet paper.
No, it's survival of the fittest. Whoever gets to the shops first with the most money. Yeah.
Way more afraid of
terrifying.
other panicky people, because they're going to be the ones, like you said, like actually assaulting people over something,
like people are the problem, right? Like, but like people en masse is what I mean. Like, I don't mean like people as in take a person. I mean us as a collective. We are the problem. Like people are the problem.
And I think modern society has not developed a sense of self-sufficiency and confidence when this shit happens. So you've also got people that don't know what to do alone, don't know how to even have a 72 hours worth of supplies. Like the amount of people that live day to day, I admittedly do, but it's given me a wake-up call to have supplies like even up to 1 to 2 weeks if you can, and like it's actually got me thinking of inventory and taking like, do I have enough medicine, do I have enough asthma like puffers if I have an attack, do I have enough Panadol, all this stuff, which at the very least you could say is the silver lining, is that people become more prepared, more self-aware, more self-sustainable. Maybe it's kind of a good a slap in the face that we kind of needed. Because I think people were getting super complacent. People just watching Netflix and jerking off and shit. But
totally, man, totally. I mean, I've like my whole all I want to do is just have like a plot of land in the middle of nowhere and like have the self-sustainable thing. And like all that this has done, this pandemic is just.
Are we invited?
Realize how important. Yes. No, but yes.
Scan your ID.
Biometric ID before you came in.
I literally have been the psycho in like my, the people that I know, where I've just been like, buy land, buy Bitcoin, I've been doing that for years. Like, and something like this has just made me go, yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do. Because then you're so like, my mate, James, he's up at the farm right now. He's just, under the stars right now. He's got enough pigs. And
I've thought, you know, because
basil and tomatoes growing, and you know they don't give a shit.
That's beautiful.
I'm ready to. We've got till midnight Tuesday. If we want to get out of the city or go to a different region, we can, because they're locking down that regional travel. And I have a place to go down south, and I'm seriously considering. Except there's
Why? Yeah,
someone's
why
already
are
in
you
isolation down there.
debating it?
I'm not allowed to invade on someone else's self isolation.
Yeah, but okay.
So I have to
I don't
wait.
know.
They were overseas,
You
so
wouldn't.
that's a pretty big deal.
You wouldn't be
Yeah.
risking. Oh, as in someone's isolation.
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck, man. I don't know. I would get if I had an option to get out of the city, I would for sure, because you don't know what's going to happen. You just don't.
Well, that's the thing, especially where I am. I'm right fucking in the middle of the city. Like,
Well, so am I, man. I'm a stone's throw from you. Like it's crazy.
Would you be making life harder for yourself if you couldn't come back? Like, is that just fucking you even more? Like, because
why would I need to come back? What would be the purpose to come back? Unless there's suddenly been a green light, all clear, safe to go out again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I'm also thinking, like, are they really going to enforce this regional
I hope so.
barrier?
I think they will.
Yeah, like
I hope
actually
so.
have checkpoints.
I reckon that's why the military is involved, because they
should.
need a lot of people everywhere. Freeways are going to be fucking checkpoints
yeah,
and all
I mean,
things.
By quarantining as many areas and isolating as many areas as possible, you can stop the spread. Like this is not a drill. Like this is a pandemic. Like we have to take these quarantine lines seriously in order to stop the spread. That's how things work. Like the reason this went global so quickly is because of planes and modern travel and how everyone is like, 24 hours away from any other human on Earth. Doesn't matter how isolated they are. In 24 hours, you can get to anyone on Earth. You know what I mean? Like, somewhere in like us sitting in Perth could get to anywhere on the Rockies Mountains in Canada, which is literally the opposite side of the Earth within 24 hours.
Yep.
Like that's fucking crazy. It used to take like 3-6 months on a fucking boat, like 100 years ago. That wasn't long ago.
Yeah, and there'd be like
and
two
now,
of you
and now
left
it's
at the end.
24 hours. 6 months to 24 hours. Like that's why we're in this outrageous new problem.
Yeah.
So like locking down areas is the only, like we have to do it. We have to.
I know I'm going to bring up like a economical thing, but it is tough to see like little pubs and stuff, little venues really struggling now. Like a lot of them may even not see this through, which is super upsetting. Do you know anyone directly, Connor? Like that's like, yeah, I guess all of our friends that were once on like tour, like had tours booked, they're all cancelled now. So like a lot of musicians, a lot of comedians that we know, they can't do anything. Can't do anything.
Anyone in
if you did anything left of center, you're pretty much screwed right now.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think Connor made a good point before that. Does that really matter at this stage?
Exactly, yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But
but
you
it's,
still have
it's,
compassion
it's
for
the,
like,
the,
it's still a
empathy.
shit. It's a loss. It's a loss.
Yeah.
But like, it is like that's still my overarching like feeling is like you have to set that aside in a time right now because health needs to be at the top of the pyramid, right? Like we absolutely need to prioritize health. Like that is number one. What people do with work and stuff like that has to come second. But yeah, it still sucks. I mean, I know chefs that have lost jobs. I know, lots of people. This is a weird time. It's a weird time.
Why are you standing?
I might as well go hang myself.
No,
Johnny.
See,
this is supposed to be.
I'm seriously getting a little bit.
Yeah.
I know, man. I know, but like the beauty of the modern age is that we've got technology that allows us to connect even at times when we're in quarantine. Like we can still communicate with anyone on Earth.
The fact that we're doing this is fucking bananas.
Exactly.
To me. This
like,
is fucking insane.
But it's good. Like
I feel like you're right here. I can give you a kiss.
I was going cabin crazy, right? Like, and now I get to hang out with you guys. Like, it's virtual, but we get to hang out like on a Saturday night. So like, there's
Yeah, there's definitely.
Look, we are going to be okay, and we're going to get through it. And certainly, we're not in a huge risk group, or like if we got the flu, it would be fucking shit. But like, we're doing all we can. We're in.
Speak for
Perth.
yourself,
We're in-
Connor. I've been chain smoking for the last week.
Well, don't eat some nicotine gum like me.
Taco Bell.
This podcast is brought to you by Nicotine.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm planning to
Chew your
hit
nicotine.
back up my doctor and jump up back on the Champex.
Janfex, yeah, do that, man. Like
We're gonna try and do an active April thing. Do you want in on our active April?
Yes, active April's
yeah,
go
fuck
to,
yeah. I want in. Prison, well, it'll be prison activity. Like we'll have to do like
Prison activity. Don't
in
use
the,
those
in the
words.
apartment.
It'll be like a quarantine active April where you do half an hour. You check in on like a group chat. You do it about half an hour.
All right, I'm keen.
Every
for
day.
sure.
Half an hour every day for 1 month. We'll be ripped as fuck by the time this shit's over.
Yeah,
We'll like emerge from our places like fucking
yeah.
shredded.
Everyone's just like emerging, like we've come out of like jail and we're just ripped. Like
just one
We're all,
arm's
like-
really big from
we're all
just like jerking
like
off.
gay as well. Like we're all just like a little bit gay.
That
Like,
was
a bit
always
gayer
there,
than we were.
baby. Yeah. Taco Bell.
Nah,
man.
Johnny. Honestly, like I've had like horrific anxiety like the last couple of weeks as well. So
A lot of
I
people have
totally know
anxiety.
where you're at. But like, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta let go.
There's
Like,
something. There is something that I can do. I can call up my boss and say, "Fuck you, I'm not coming to work."
Oh, absolutely, and you should.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I got
I've
Haley
been
to do
here.
that,
I've been
like-
sort of freaking out, going, "Oh shit, I won't be able to pay my rent. They're going to kick me out of this nice apartment. I'm going to lose everything and be living on the streets during a pandemic." And I now realize that, like, fuck them.
dude,
Like,
yeah, money is like secondary right now.
And
it
two
needs to
people
be.
were sick in your crew.
All right,
oh, completely,
Don't you fucking dare go
completely
back to
unrelated.
work.
Completely unrelated. Don't start that. Now.
Okay,
You fucking
okay,
go on again.
okay. But yeah, no, like we need to
Someone
put
will
health
call cops on me.
before we need to put health before income for sure.
Yeah.
There's no economy when there's no buyers, and there's no buyers if we're all
Yeah,
burying people.
that's absolutely true. Yeah.
Unless we're selling coffins, which could be a good business idea. I'm trying to think of a new business to spin
But
out of this.
I will definitely say the good thing is in terms of what we're doing here is almost such a perfect opportunity to be doing it. You know, so many people are
It's
at
cool,
home
man.
and they're sitting on their phones. Social media is booming.
Exactly.
Doing something like this where we can still communicate and talk and do stuff in the midst of all this is fucking pretty cool. I like that.
That's the thing, man. That's the thing. Like if this, you know, like there's been pandemics throughout human history, and I'm sure as shit convinced that people haven't been this connected during something like this.
Yeah.
So that's like a cool part of it. Obviously there's pros and cons, or there's positives and negatives that come from that, because you get like crazy anti-vaxxers or whatever the equivalent of this is that can find other people like them. But being able to like I said, like I wouldn't have been able to hang out with people, quote unquote, like hang out, but it's cool to do this. Like it's, you know, we're making the best of the situation. Like,
Totally.
I don't know.
I think
It's good
now
to-
now
good to
is
talk to
like
you, bros.
now is the perfect time to create content. If anyone was like ever thinking of doing it, now is
Yeah, I
the,
gotta
the
get my
best
shit
time to
together for
just
sure.
experiment.
Well, I've been saying that I want to get back into. I'm meant to be writing an album right now, but I've been complaining that I've had too much work and I don't get the time.
Here we go.
Here we go.
I'm gonna learn how to
I know, man.
DJ.
I know. It's okay, man. Like it's, you know, the government is helping. How, like, people can rag on them however they want, but they are providing payment
They're doing what they can
to people.
yeah.
Like and like that, because they know that is within their best interest to not, you know, put any more pressure on the hospital system. So we all just need to stay the fuck home and take a deep breath of our apartment air or house air, not of the neighbor's air.
Well,
And just kind of like, you know, message somebody that, you know, and just ask whether they've got everything they need and whether they're doing all right. And like, that's what we got to do. We got to just, we got to do shit like that. Like there's no other way, and there's nothing else we can do. So,
Do you still know how to DJ, Connor?
yeah.
You ever thought about doing like
why?
a live stream set?
I don't have any gear. It's so expensive,
Yeah, I
man.
know.
Like the gear is outrageous.
Mm.
So like, if I had the gear, I could every now and then. You know the Perth what's the? There's like a Lab 6.
Lab 6 are awesome, yeah.
Yeah. So like maybe like once or twice a year, I'll like go down there and just like rent a room off Jeremy. Just not instructional or whatever. Just but basically borrow the room, borrow some gear for a couple of hours and just
I remember. Yeah,
play some tracks and keep in the groove. But yeah, no, I don't have any. Like it's literally like $5,000 to buy like basic gear for DJing. Yeah. Like everything, it's super expensive to get into it. And,
I mean, you can still get like a cheap controller and like.
You can, but I'm just such a fucking audio like snob. Like, you know, it's so fucked. It is, but it's like.
Can't believe we all got
know.
Procasters. That's dope as shit. That is dope.
Supporting Australian businesses. Supporting Australian businesses.
Totally. Where did we get ours from? The DJ shop?
Yeah, DJ, Store DJ.
Store DJ.
Well, yeah, we got 2 of them locally, and then we got one from Store DJ.
Well, they're made in Australia. That's what I was referring to.
the
Like
Rhodes,
they're actually like an Australian company. So
Is
that's
that the
best
Rode
part.
mic arm as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want one of them. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
And the PS
Highly recommend.
Yeah.
You can put the cable through it. I'm going to do that. So you can like cut the XLR and then just like resolder it once you shove it through.
Yeah, and it hides
So
it all.
like I got time. I got a soldering iron. I got some solder. I got time. It's time to do that shit. Man, that's how you got to look at this. You got to look at it like that. Like if there's like something to fix, like fucking fix it.
Yeah,
just do shit like that. But like I honestly think,
use of it.
Johnny, like a big weight will be lifted from you once you tell your boss that he's a fucking psycho and he needs to lock his shit down for 2 weeks, like at least. Because within 2 weeks the government will force it anyway. So like I said, like government's a week behind the 8 ball. I wouldn't be surprised if on Monday they make another announcement.
I'm glad you said that because I never thought of it that way. That you know the stuff that the government's enforcing is like already too slow. Like we should have been doing it like a week ago. Yeah.
Mm.
We need to look at the other countries where the virus has progressed, and like that's what we're going to be doing if we don't start doing exactly what they're doing now. Because if we start doing exactly what they're doing now, we can actually prevent. I just realized that I'm like wielding like a Swiss Army knife. Quarantine.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah, because we can prevent. Definitely, because Perth might be behind on physical time, but when it comes to the way that we're connected now, we are right there at the time.
Totally. I want to see 1 million podcasts just boom out of Perth. I really wish that would happen.
I got to start mine, man. I got
totally.
Now's the time.
Totally. Yeah, we've gone kind of full steam ahead with the tinfoil, but at least
Fucking
we're
do it.
like, but it's genuine. We're not putting it on like we think like this.
Nah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
well, I mean,
You guys are as honest as you get,
I'm,
like-
I'm stuck on a fence so much right now because at the same time, I know that this pandemic, this health thing is, it's a serious fucking thing that everyone's like, it's going on. But the other side of me keeps going, is there something more to it? Is there something more going on? Not saying that the virus is a hoax. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that maybe there could be people that are capitalizing on this happening.
But
right
that
now.
is true. Like that's 100% true. Like the big major like world-changing events, people will have conspiracies as to like whether they're planned or not. Like I personally don't think anyone's that organized.
No. I don't think that this was an organized thing. I don't think
as
that
far
this
as
was
people waiting in the shadows to like pounce when the time's right. Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Like just look at the stock market. Look at the trail of money. Look at where the allocation of stock is right now. Like, but that's how it is in every crash. That's how it is. That's how it is at every depression. Like the people with less resources can't hold volatile assets as long and have to sell before people who have all their shit sorted.
Yeah.
So they get to buy it up at a cheap rate and then sell it back to those poor suckers, quote unquote.
Yeah, but also in
at a later
terms,
stage,
in
so-
terms of the whole security, surveillance, and control and stuff, like people are capitalizing on that, And I think that it's, as much as we should be protecting and making sure that we don't get and spread this virus, we can't just be like turn a blind eye to this other shit that's going on and let it happen. And it's so hard. It feels, for me, I'm thinking, how do you make some sort of awareness and get people to realize these other things that are happening in this fucking such a crazy fucking thing. I don't know.
Man. It's a crazy time, but yeah, I mean,
stop picking my nose, Johnny.
I'm sorry, man. Like, I feel like I'm the worst fucking guest to have on at the moment. Because it's just like,
not at all.
Who's the happiest person that you know, Daryl? Like, I'll give Connor a call. He's not cynical. He's not a fucking psychopath.
No, I don't think you're cynical at all, because I think you have a very valid point of view. And this is the thing, like, if I disagree with someone, I would still fight to the death for their right to think what they want to think.
As would I.
I hope that people return the favor, because I do think there's increasingly going to become a climate where this shit that we're saying, and by we I mean me personally, is probably going to be like, you can't say that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I hope that day doesn't come. That this shit is like, you can't have this podcast.
The number one thing that I've been saying is, how after 9/11, all those laws saying it's making jokes about bombs and stuff at airports is big offense. Same thing's going to happen about making jokes about being sick, I reckon. Maybe to some sort of degree, if you sort of walk around pretending to cough or pretending that you have some sort of disease, I reckon that
there was the woman who got charged for coughing on 35 grand worth of stock at a supermarket, and she got charged with
terrorism laws, wasn't it?
Terrorism laws,
like bioterrorism.
Yeah, to be honest, fuck that bitch.
Well, yeah, she totally shouldn't be charged. Just take her out the back and fucking shoot her
for a long time. Throw the fucking key away.
Yeah,
like,
but what I mean is dumb fucks like that. Should that be a justification to enforce these like new laws and using them? Oh, wait, you still there?
Yeah.
I think the camera just dropped out. But that's what I mean, Yeah. There are some dumb fucks out there. There are some bad seeds. But
man.
Why it takes one to ruin it for the many. But is it really necessary to take one dumb person like that and then start using terrorism laws to say things like that? It's like, I don't fucking know. Like,
it's a slippery slope. With any laws that are made, there's the issue of scope creep, and I think we've even discussed this before when I was on, maybe last time or the time before. There's always scope creep. There's always a law will be made, and then it'll be used for other purposes, and it'll start to sort of just snowball. That's sort of why the judiciary arm exists, so that when a law is made and then it's actually invoked by the police or whatever, or the state, against someone, someone can challenge it in court, and then a third, independent body, a judge, can actually say, actually, this is wrong or this is right. So, we have to have faith in the justice system to a certain degree, that it'll be fair. The biggest problem is that, we don't have a Bill of Rights in this country. That's a big fucking problem.
That's true, yeah.
Because we're sort of making it up as we go along.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We don't have something like that sort of really defends the people, I guess you could say. Do we? Like,
no.
We just have someone that writes these laws and then we obey them.
Yeah, it's really bad. I mean, we're the only Western country that doesn't have a Bill of Rights. It's kind of crazy.
I did not know that.
But here, okay, now, does the UK... So UK and Canada are all part of the Commonwealth.
They have Bill of Rights.
So how come Australia, being part of the Commonwealth, do we have any... Does any of the UK Bill of Rights apply to Australia under the Commonwealth?
No. So the Australia became fully independent as a legal entity, for its legal system in 86. If schooling has, I don't know whether that's actually the right date. I'm pretty sure that's the right date. But the Australian Act or something like that in 86. Until that point, the High Court could make a ruling and then a person could still take it to the UK. They could still go above.
Okay.
But now that we're like a fully independent kind of, legal system, like Canada and the UK, judges will still take principles and they'll still kind of weave it into judgments here when there's no precedent for something happening. But if something's happened in Australia and there's precedent, like they'll always look to that first. But that wasn't the case until 86. But then from 86 onwards, like, which is weird because that's like our lifetime, right? Like,
yeah, shit.
But yeah, we don't have a Bill of Rights. I mean, the UK have theirs. It was kind of forced on them through the EU. Canada have theirs. They're kind of like, they kind of did the Commonwealth thing right, I guess, but I'm biased as well. So, but they've had theirs for I don't know 60 years or something like that. And then America, that was kind of
crazy. I did not know that. So there's no like constitution or like Bill of Rights or anything like that.
Oh, there's a constitution, of course. Like every country has a constitution.
Yeah.
That's
Right,
sort of
right.
what that's like the main thing that holds a country.
Yeah. I always
together,
say
I guess.
Australia just needs to call back all of our troops, line the coast of Australia, and declare our independence from the rest of the world. Ain't no one getting in. Stop the boats. Stop.
Stop the cruise ships, man. Stop the cruise ships.
Stop the cruise ships.
Stop the boats. Yeah, stop those boats.
Yeah.
Well, stop the people. Like all the people that take a cruise as a holiday. Like I mean, honestly, we can lose them, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. That one that came to Sydney, the one that
let's
caused
just
all the
cut
shit in
those
Sydney.
motherfuckers.
Who would be dumb enough to get on a cruise ship?
No,
in the middle of
shit.
like after those two cruise ships in
Dude,
there was
March.
one
March the
Carnival
8th.
It's in
cruise,
February.
like,
It's in
yeah.
February. Those two cruise ships were locked down. They actually declared
Yeah.
their own countries on the John Hopkins fucking tally thing, and then
But
I'm going to get on a cruise ship.
Dude, but even like before this year, like last year, there was like, people get stuck on a cruise ship and then everyone's shitting out of their mouth and their ass at the same time. And like, this is a constant thing. Like, are these people like, and then you'll get like some Italian captain will just drive into a rock and then 86
guy,
people.
yeah, I
Like,
remember that guy.
this isn't a holiday. Like you're going to a shopping mall that can sink and you're trapped on. That's not a holiday. Like, why don't we just drop them off at Westfield? And pick them up in 8 days. Like, give them a fucking rucksack with a lunch.
Valet their car.
Yeah, and like we'll like make up a janitor's closet and like put like a little painting of a circle of a light like for window. Like, what do these people want as a holiday? Like, that's,
you know where? So all these people that are coming into the country, like through Sydney Airport, Perth Airport, and stuff. You know where they should take them for quarantine? Back on the boat. And just go anchor the boat up off the fucking coast somewhere and just leave them there.
Weren't they
Aren't
thinking of
they-
using Rottnest as a quarantine
Yeah,
center?
Yes.
they're quarantining
Yeah.
Rottnest as a place to dump them all, which is good. That's a good idea. Put them all in the barracks.
And where was the one before that? Christmas Island, right?
I never. Did those people that got taken to Christmas Island ever come back?
Yeah,
Are they still there? Did we just forget about them? Like,
No, we just left them there. No. They came
don't
back.
know.
They came back. I saw some footage of them coming back. Yeah.
oh, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Oh, man.
It's interesting times, man. It's like
so
like we said
weird.
before. It's like a part of me is really stressed, but like I'm exhilarated at the same time at the possible idea of a big wake up call
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Exactly.
And I have faith
Exactly. I mean,
that people will kind of think about things.
I
more.
like that people have said before that this is a war. We are almost like currently at war, and we should be almost acting like we are at war. I mean, yeah, our wartime efforts to sit on the couch and do fuck all. But you kind of feel like
But that would literally save lives if we did that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, what I'm seeing is people fucking going and getting coffee from the cafe and like stupid shit.
I was
Like,
about to do that.
Stop
Sorry.
it.
sorry, that was me.
Stop doing that.
That was me. Sorry, Connor. That was
Well,
me.
see, my plan is I'm waiting for everyone to go and stay indoors and no one go outside. Then when I go outside, there's no one around, so then I'm safe.
But that's what everyone's saying. That's what.
I know.
the problem.
I know.
That's what's
I will
dragging
admit.
this on.
I will admit. At least the last week that I've been at work, I've been not slacking. I mean, I've still been vigilant. You know, I wash my hands 5 times a day anyway at work. I'm doing I stay away from people anyway. But I think, especially over the last week and this weekend, I've sort of just become a lot more, just kind of not. I won't say freaked out, but it really sort of just I'm getting ready to just say fuck this and lock myself in.
But don't
I don't want to take that risk.
Reality, that's not something worth freaking out about. I don't think. I think it's just you're doing that for your own safety. It's all just about increasing.
It's a rational thing to do. It's not irrational. It's rational. Yeah.
It's total glass half full shit. You can look at this as, oh my god, I can't go out, or oh my god, I get to do everything I should have been doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, personally, the whole thing that freaks me out is the fact that I will admit that my health isn't 100%. And if I was, I'm definitely scared about spreading this thing, and I don't want to be responsible for other people's deaths. But then I realized that this thing will probably fucking kill me. And if I protect myself from dying, I'm probably going to protect other people from getting it at the same time.
100%. Exactly. No, it's you should be, take it seriously.
Unless I already have it, and then I'm already fucked.
The most punk rock thing you could do right now
You're all right.
The most punk rock thing you could do right now is be happy and healthy, I think.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
This is the perfect time to reflect and I personally want to get fit again because I've fucking let go for a while.
Yeah.
I actually want to so I think it's definitely going to be a catalyst, but in many ways economically, I think when we re-emerge from all of this, we'll have a whole new perspective, I think.
If we re-emerge,
Johnny,
Rona gonna get you.
Johnny, Rona's not going to get you.
Rona gonna get you.
We will.
1.5. I've got a tape measure. I've got a tape measure here, Daryl.
Yeah.
If you come within 1.5 meters of me, I will call the authorities.
Rona's going to get you.
Oh no!
No, we will absolutely emerge. Of course, we're going to emerge from
Totally,
this. It's
yeah.
just
Of course.
it's just about personal risk and stuff like that. And I just don't want the flu. That's what it comes down to. I just don't want the flu.
Totally.
And everyone that has had the flu wouldn't want anyone else to have the flu because it's fucking awful. And I can't imagine showing up to the ER in the same way I did when I had the flu and seeing a line and seeing pandemonium and seeing all this craziness.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
what,
I've seen some of the videos that came out of the Italian hospitals and shit like that, and you just think. I just thought to myself, I do not want to be. Not that that's the thing. If I came down with it and I got to hospital, they'd tell me to go home. You're fucked. I don't know. I'm cutting all of this out. I'm cutting it all out.
No, you're not.
This will be cut out.
You're absolutely not.
It totally will.
No. Why are we struggling for a vaccine to save people when we should just I don't know, take them out the back and shoot them like Gorbachev?
What?
Man. Look,
Can you tell that I haven't even begun my self quarantine?
It's man. Don't it's. I've seen it a lot as well. I've seen it a lot where there'll be a deflection and a sort of denial and a sort of these stages before while someone's doing something they know isn't the right thing to be doing right now. There's a justification kind of. So I've seen it in some of my friends as well, where they'll sort of need to tell themselves that it's all fine right now because they have to be doing something as told by a boss or something like that. But they're the people who I've just been trying to really focus on and say okay, just remove the money thing because it's not about that. We're at this really crazy stage right now of it where I don't know how many cases there are, but 200 and something or whatever. But we're at this the tipping point. What happens over the next 2 to 3 weeks in Perth will dictate the next 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
So stay the motherfuck inside.
Well, I think that's a big thing as well. We look at the numbers in Perth right now and say, oh, compared to the rest of the world, we're fine. We shouldn't worry about it. But I've been saying to people as well that we haven't even begun.
No.
We have
No,
not
we
even
haven't.
begun.
But what we do now will make an impact
yes.
months down the line. So stay the fuck inside. And next time I see like some fucking 70-year-old walking his dog holding a coffee and a newspaper without a mask on, like I'm just going to grab his coffee and throw it in his face.
But kind of what if some people, especially in those situations, just like, well, fuck it. They're enjoying their life because they might not have much left.
They're enjoying their life with like a level of negligence in spreading a fucking horrific viral infection.
I get the whole spreading. That's what I'll personally admit that that's something I kind of overlook.
Like these people need to be told to stay home. They need to be forced home because they're still doing crazy shit like going to the beach or whatever. Like, no, stop it.
Do you see those people like Bondi Beach apparently is still really packed?
No anymore. Not anymore.
They had cops.
They fucking rolled in the cops.
They had cops like actually telling people go the fuck home.
Cops down at Cottesloe today as well. Yeah.
Good. They had like an extra 500 cases or something like that in the last week in New South Wales. Like these people are fucking retarded. Like don't go out right now.
Yeah.
Like,
it's funny, China reopened all of their cinemas, and literally just then they closed them again.
Yeah,
because they
well, that's the thing. Like we're saying,
that's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be.
There's so many unknowns. Like they're saying, talking about reinfections. This thing is so it's crazy how
unpredictable it is.
Unpredictable. Like how unknown this thing is. That's what fucking a 5-month-old baby was infected. Like what the fuck.
Dude,
what does that mean?
The UK woman, 31 years old, died. Just her husband just came, like she was dead. Like they called the ambulance a day before. She had a fever. She had all vomiting, flu. The ambulance came. They said, we can't actually accept you yet because the UK's properly fucked right now. Like they are absolutely beyond their capacity. They are like a window into what Australia could be if we all acted normally right now, which we're not, and which we're taking steps to like put out the message to stay the fuck home, and like businesses are shutting down, and like thankfully the government's like, you know, advertised their stimulus, or not their stimulus package, but their welfare package, I guess, for people who are out of work, and like there are options, and businesses are now able to sort of guide employees they've had to cut, like. So, like, we're taking steps to avoid the situation the UK is in, right? Because if we cross that line of capacity, I mean, yeah.
So can I
the
just
ambulance will say.
I just ask one more thing. Would I be out of my mind if I just packed up my shit and got the fuck out of the city?
No.
No, we talked about this. Like, if I had an option to bail down south, I would in a heartbeat. I just don't have the option. I don't have the resources. I don't have the option. So it's like for me, like it's the safest thing to do is just like stay home. That's the safest thing for me. But don't beat yourself up over this. Like it's not. There's only so much you can do, and what you can do. Like
I get all that.
There's a huge amount of like lowering of risk in just like staying home, washing your hands all the time, cleaning your clothes when you get home. Like doctors are coming home and not getting infected. Like obviously there's a higher infection rate for doctors at the moment, but like they're still going to work every fucking day. Like they just know what to do.
Yeah, they follow protocols.
Exactly. And we just all need to do that. Like we just all need to do that. Unfortunately, like, you know, there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of, you know, people waiting for the government. Like we were talking about Daryl earlier, like people waiting for the government's next thing. Whereas we need to be looking a little bit like we need some foresight. We need to like all kind of look within us and take that next step mentally within ourselves and just accept that we're in this situation and, you know, I don't know, buy Bitcoin and food.
and don't take anything for granted either. I think
exactly. Yeah.
I've found value in just going out.
Dude, For sure.
And
Like waking
I've-
up without a headache and just
Totally,
you know, I made like a nice meal tonight, you know, just
dude, the fact
doing what we can do.
Connor, the fact that we have like a house to stay in
exactly.
is pretty good.
Exactly.
It's pretty good.
It's crazy. The fact we've got internet, the fact that we're doing this, like we're
We
already
lucked
in
out.
an outrageously good position to like
We've-
mitigate as much risk as possible.
We've lucked out.
Like,
yeah.
if-
The fact that we have clean water in the bed, that's enough.
Exactly. The fact that we don't actually need toilet paper. The fact that we've
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
clean running water.
And there are other people
meaning
out
we
there.
can avoid.
Their day-to-day existence is worrying about if they'll be shot, like every
Yeah.
fucking day, or like you know, like
Exactly.
people in the
Oh,
middle.
yeah, that's the other thing as well. I hate, you know, we talk it up in Perth, but we have it so fucking good compared to the rest of the world. A lot of places in
we
the
are
world, like
so
fucking
lucky.
good.
So good.
It's crazy. It is fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's always
it
a
will-
silver
and-
lining. Yeah.
Yeah, and it will only get better if we all like stick to like the seriousness of it and like
Totally.
respect it as a, you know, the virus doesn't care. The virus doesn't care what your bank balance is. The virus doesn't care what your political stance is. The virus doesn't care whether you think 9/11 was a hoax. The virus doesn't give a fuck about any of that shit. The virus is a fucking virus. Like, it's an organism that wants to live and spread and fuck
that's
shit
that's
up.
the other thing I was saying to Daryl. It's like just that whole idea.
Bipartisan.
This thing, it's a living thing. It's a living organism. That's what it kind of just freaks me out to try and stop and think about what. I always say this whole know your enemy type thing. That's why I get shitty when people call it the COVID virus or the straight coronavirus when it's really the SARS-2 virus. Anyway, the semantics. But it's whole know your enemy. And I
to
stopped there and I
marketing. Talk
thought
to
about it and I
marketing,
tried to, you know, do this sort of mental picturing that it is this biological living organism that is traveling around, and it just fucking it freaked me out more. It was just like even worse. I should have just stopped thinking.
Dude, yeah. No, it sounds like meditation like is something that you should be practicing right now.
Active April coming up.
Exercise,
Fuck yeah.
meditation.
Meditation, man. Like,
we've got to declutter our minds, man. Like if a lot of people have
Totally
a
agree.
big issue with not being stimulated enough, and I think you got to find your own like spark.
dude, I had to like I was gonna be, I was gonna go on a 10-day silent meditation retreat in Queensland from the 28th of February to the whatever of the 10th of March or something.
That
I would
sounds
have been
dope.
I would have been without a phone and without communication and like gone into this and then come out like into this new world of like, so like I'm pretty happy it was cancelled, to be honest. But I'm still keen to do it at some point. Like, it's still something that needs to happen.
Oh, totally. I would so be with you on that.
Yeah.
I know it's not
It's
supposed
terrifying.
to be a group thing, but, like, yeah.
It terrifies the shit out of me. Like, but that's why I wanted to do it. Like, because obviously I'm as terrified of the inside of my mind as the next person. But you know, like you said, like we need to remove that stimulation for a bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
'Cause
there's
it's
a lot
just
of
too much.
noise. There's just a lot of noise everywhere, in the
Yeah.
form of mainstream news, alternative news. Like there's everyone has an opinion at the moment, which I think is good. But
I think this next 2 weeks is the best time to stop watching the news.
yeah,
Turn off fucking everything.
hunker down.
So I haven't. Yeah.
Just hunker down.
I should head my
Just
own
read-
fucking advice.
Exactly, man. Read well-respected like med journals. Read like reputable sources. Don't read news because news is clickbait. Like, that's all that they have is like attention-grabbing bullshit. Like, just go to like university sources. Go to studies. Go to doctors. Like, as in like papers and stuff like that. And like those people, yeah, they're painting a pretty fucked up picture at the moment. But it's like, at least it's uncut. It hasn't been like jaded by like some political agenda or some like other narrative. And then I don't know, like I said, like I find like kind of solace in like how cold they kind of present facts and stuff like that. Like, they just present stats and they just present numbers and they just say this is the reality. And I think that there's a level of respect that everyone should be afforded in society. We should all be treated like adults when it comes to these things. People shouldn't have hard realities sugar-coated. And we kind of do that to ourselves through media, I think.
Totally, man. Connor, you are a G. Thanks for calling in and shit. Well, no, we called you. We bothered you.
No, thanks for having me.
That's all right, man.
This is good. This is like I said, this is rad that we get to
totally
kinda hang out
rad.
even during
It's
quarantine.
good to see you.
Well, the thing is
Absolutely.
that with this setup, it's so much easier. We can do it more often as well.
We can actually
Hell
pump these
yes.
out a lot more often now that we're. Well,
This is like
thanks for being our
therapy.
first trial, our first demo of this
This'll
whole
be-
Skype thing.
This will be therapy Skype hour whenever you guys want.
Oh,
It's not
totally.
like-
No, we should check
like
in.
Yeah.
We've admittedly we could do better at checking in on everyone, and I think this is perfect.
I
is
agree.
perfect.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is good. And it's not like I've got much to do. You just call me and my soldering iron and
Totally, man. Take care. Do you want to? I know it's probably the worst time to be plugging anything. Is there anything that you're?
You got any shows coming up?
I'm going to be at the Rosemount tomorrow night. So everybody come on out.
After all that, it's like
Yeah, after all that, I'm going to be on these dates. I'm going to be traveling around Australia.
Traveling around doing-
Then we've got the China tour. I'm really looking forward to that.
we're gonna do a book signing with a handout.
My
books
Wuhan gang.
And free hugs.
free hugs and free book
free
signings.
hugs 2020 Wuhan gang.
Yeah,
no, I got
totally,
nothing
man.
to plug, but I'm inspired to start a podcast, and you guys are going to be guests numero uno.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Oh, totally. This like we said before,
that's
this
cool.
is totally the time
I know,
to do
man.
it. This is the
Gotta
time
do
to
it.
do it. Yeah, while we still can.
You guys have been prompting for a long time, and this is the time. I think this is the time.
But do it your way. Do it however you want to do it, and you say
Awesome.
say
Can't
whatever
wait.
you want to
I'm gonna
say
send you-
in the way
you
that
guys
you
are
want to
gonna-
say it.
Yeah, you guys are going to get the little vibrator thing shortly in the mail, and then I'll just push it from where I'm sitting, and that's how I'm going to do my podcast.
What the fuck?
My guests are going to be treated.
Thank you, Connor.
I love you guys. Stay
Thank
safe.
you. Take
Cheers, Connor.
care. Stay in touch, man.
check-
Be
Take
safe.
care.
Be safe.
Absolutely.
Take care. Stay happy. Stay healthy.
Godspeed. See you guys.